Picture the afterlife. You are probably imagining pearly gates in the clouds, or a pit of eternal fire. For our early ancestors, destinations for the dead weren't moral realms, but bound to literal dirt and sky. Look at the words themselves. The English word heaven traces back to the Old English hieophon, originally referring simply to the physical sky above us. And hell comes from hell, meaning a hidden or covered place, like a grave. The ancient Israelites viewed the cosmos through a similar physical lens. In early Hebrew texts, the heavens were strictly reserved for the divine. Human beings, regardless of how virtuously they lived, all went into the earth, to a neutral, shadowy realm known as Sheol. Death was not a transition into a cosmic courtroom where your earthly deeds were weighed. It was an inescapable geographical reality. The gods lived up above, and we went into the ground below. This neutral geographic arrangement remained steady until the growth of complex human populations created a new need for social oversight. To maintain order across vast distances, civilizations projected human-like judgment onto the cosmos, turning the silent sky into a witness actively weighing human behavior. In ancient Chinese traditions, this idea materialized as tian. It is a concept that denotes the physical sky, but it also represents a supreme, conscious entity that actively watches and listens to human behavior. This observant sky became a highly effective political tool. Tian granted emperors their earthly mandate to rule, rewarding righteous leaders with prosperity and sending natural disasters to punish the wicked. By giving the sky a personality and a set of moral opinions, early empires forged a direct link between their own absolute political authority and the approval of the cosmos. As religions with linear timelines, like Christianity, developed, the mechanics of the afterlife changed. It evolved from a temporary holding area into a permanent, final destination based entirely on divine reward or punishment. Christian scripture mapped out a vision of heaven characterized by physical perfection, absolute divine illumination, and total communion with God. The concept of the underworld went through a parallel evolution. The biblical term Gehenna originally referred to the Valley of Hinnom. This was a literal garbage dump situated outside the walls of Jerusalem, used by early writers as a visceral metaphor for final destruction. Over centuries, this idea of physical torment became deeply internalized. Today, the Roman Catholic Church formally defines hell not as a literal torture chamber, but as a state of definitive self-exclusion. You arrive there by consciously choosing to separate yourself from divine grace. This theological shift repositioned the afterlife entirely. The destination of the dead had become a moral landscape, where the specific choices of the individual dictated their proximity to the divine. Other traditions mapped out these moral responsibilities with incredible precision. Islamic theology built perhaps the most sophisticated, graduated system of divine justice in the ancient world. In Islam, the realm of punishment, Jahannam, is a strict hierarchy of 7 layers. They descend from a temporary purgatory down to a crushing abyss called Hawiyah, with a soul's placement calibrated to the specific severity of their transgressions. Jewish tradition applies a similar precision, but focuses heavily on the upward trajectory. Punishment is typically viewed as temporary, while heaven features graduated levels that a soul can ascend to, based entirely on the number of mitzvot, or commandments, they obeyed while alive. As human societies built more intricate legal systems on Earth, their visions of the afterlife mirrored that complexity, ensuring that every soul received absolute, proportional justice. Today, our understanding of these realms is shifting once again. Many contemporary religious scholars and theologians are openly challenging the idea of eternal conscious torment. This diagram outlines 2 major alternatives that have gained traction. The first is conditional immortality, which argues that an unrepentant soul simply ceases to exist. The second is universal reconciliation, the belief that all souls are eventually saved and restored to the divine. Beyond literal destinations, modern philosophical thought increasingly treats heaven and hell as metaphors. They represent the psychological consequences of our moral choices, serving as symbols for our own internal peace or suffering. Whether we view them as literal, physical places across the cosmos, or as the internal landscapes of our own minds, heaven and hell remains central to the human experience. They endure because they answer our deepest need to believe that our choices matter and that cosmic justice ultimately prevails.